At 7:14 on a Friday morning in Dallas, Texas, before the coffee finishes dripping, a pharmacy technician opens her banking app and moves exactly $50. Not 55, not whatever's left, 50. She's done this every payday for 14 months. Same time, same amount, same silence. She has never mentioned it to anyone. And here's the part that should get your attention. This woman takes home $2,380 a month, which every piece of financial advice you've ever heard says is too little to save anything. And she is currently 3 full months of survival ahead of her own life on her way to a year. $50. There is a rule hiding inside that number, a specific, teachable, 3-move rule. And by the end of this video, you'll have all of it. But I'm going to make you sit with the mystery for a few minutes first, because the reason this rule works has almost nothing to do with math. And if I hand it to you before you understand that, you'll do what most people do with good advice: nod, agree, and never start. My name is Apex, and the part that should genuinely bother you is this. Almost every piece of savings advice in existence was written for people with leftovers. Save 20% of your income. 20% of what, exactly? When the rent, the car, the insurance, and the groceries have already spoken, 20% of nothing is a number. And the number is 0. The advice industry keeps handing out percentage plans to people whose problem was never the percentage, and then act surprised when they quit. Percentages are for people with leftovers. What I'm going to show you is for everyone else. So, before any mechanics, the feeling, because the feeling is not your fault. If you've ever opened a savings calculator, typed in your real numbers, seen you will reach your goal in 11 years, and quietly closed the tab, that wasn't weakness. That was a sane response to advice that wasn't built for your paycheck. If you've started a savings plan 3 separate times and watched all 3 die by the 2nd month, you didn't fail. The plan did. It catches good people with good intentions over and over, and it caught the woman in Dallas too. Twice before she found the thing I'm about to show you. And the timing matters because 2026 is a brutal year to be one paycheck from the edge. The Federal Reserve's own household survey keeps finding that nearly 4 in 10 American adults couldn't cover a $400 emergency with cash. Bankrate puts it even sharper. Fewer than half of us could handle a $1,000 surprise without borrowing. And researchers at the J.P. Morgan Chase Institute found something most advice ignores completely. For lower-income households, income itself swings by double-digit percentages month to month. The paycheck isn't just small, it's moving. Any plan that assumes a calm, predictable surplus is a plan written for somebody else's life. Which brings me back to Dallas. Her name, for our purposes, is Renata. 33, pharmacy technician, 11 years in. Take home $2,380 a month, paid every other Friday. And 18 months ago, Renata's financial life had a very specific texture. Maybe you recognize it. Not poverty, exactly. Precision. Every dollar assigned, every month a landing you had to stick. The $12 of slack that decides whether the weekend's calm or tense. The specific dread of the car making a new sound. One night, a Tuesday, 11:52 p.m., she sat at her kitchen table doing the math on a $65 school field trip form, moving numbers between columns like furniture in a room that's too small. $65, and it took restructuring the whole month. That was the night she admitted the thing out loud. One missed paycheck, and everything falls. Now, the rule. And the rule does not come from a bank, an app, or a finance degree. It comes from her uncle. Sal set tile for 31 years. Kitchens, lobbies, one hotel pool he never stopped bragging about. And Renata once asked him how he could stand working on floors that took months to finish. He looked at her like she'd asked something foolish and said, "I've never set a floor in my life. I set the next tile." He didn't think about the lobby. The lobby was none of his business. His business was one tile, level and true. And then, only then, the one after it. 31 years of that, and behind him, acres of finished floor. Renata went home from that conversation, sat down with the wreckage of her second failed savings plan, and asked herself the question that built everything you're about to learn. What is my tile? Here's why that question matters more than any calculator. Her failed plans, both of them, had the same shape. A giant number at the end, and a monthly demand in the middle. Save $500 a month, build 20,000. And a Chicago economist named Richard Thaler spent a career documenting what brains actually do with money. We don't treat it as one pool. We sort it into mental accounts, and we treat huge, distant goals very differently than small, present actions. The giant number doesn't motivate. It votes against you. Every month, you look up at 20,000 from 300 and the gap